Hi, it's me. It's been a little while since I made one of these videos for my blog, and glad to be back doing it. It's a very slow Thursday night. Wednesday night wasn't bad. I kicked some butt, made about 2,500, and for me that's not too bad for one night's work. And tonight is not going to be anything like that. Now, tomorrow being Friday and the next day being Saturday, I've got hopes for them. But tonight is like Wednesday, and Wednesday was more like Thursday. Anyway, I'm digressing. I want to talk about what a small world it is. I like to check from time to time to see where the hits for this blog come from. And I checked one particular link pretty much because the name on the URL was kind of curious to me, cowboykillers.com, and I said, well, let's see what this is and how it is they sent me 4 hits, which is not a whole lot. I mean, I've had several hundred hits. I took a look, and it was one of these blogs that I just can't. I just can't get into it. I mean, to me, at first sight, it's not about anything. But you know, what am I to say? I'm an old man, and I don't understand modern communications, I suppose. So anyway, there was a picture of a poster that was put up on a lamppost or a wall or someplace by someone whose efforts I greatly appreciate, promoting this blog. And there was some kind of snarky comment attached to it, something like, "Oh yeah, buddy, Google this," or something along those lines. I remember exactly. I said, okay, so they don't like me, but I got 4 hits. There's a link, and of course, every link makes this blog more valid to the search engines, pushes it up, and makes it a lot more likely that other people will come check it out for whatever reason. Like, I think at this point, anyone on Earth who's looking for information about New York City taxi medallion prices comes to this blog at this point. I could be wrong. Certainly a lot of them do. All right, so small world of it is a couple of posts down on this blog by Cowboy Killer. There's a music video, and I think this is another snarky-ass little comment, you know, a little snipe at the, I could be wrong, maybe it wasn't sarcastic. What do I know? I don't understand this this method of communicating ideas by indirection and snark and sarcasm and whatever. But I try. It was the video was about a singer named Jeffrey Lewis, who probably some of you have heard of, maybe a lot of you have heard of, maybe most of you have heard of. Now, I looked at this picture, and I immediately thought of Jeffrey Lewis, the little boy who lived on my block in Village View in the East Village. He had to have been about 9 or 10 years old when I moved away from there, when my marriage to my first wife totally disintegrated and imploded, collapsed, and went into free fall, spun out. It did all that at the same time. So anyway, that was that. I had to go, and I left. And little Jeffrey was a little boy, and he had a baby brother named Jack, who was still in diapers, I think, the last time I lived in Village View. My wife was a friend of Jeffrey and Jack's mom. Hold on. Sorry, I had to move the car, and I can't move the car while I'm holding a cell phone. I'm not going to do that. Too risky. Even if it's a few feet on a taxi line. Anyway, my wife is friends with Jeffrey's mom, and my firstborn daughter and my second-born daughter, I'm pretty sure they both were. It was definitely my oldest daughter. Used to hang out sometimes with them in their house, and sometimes Jeffrey would hang out in our house. And I didn't know too much about this because I was usually either working or sleeping. But that's the way that was. So Jeffrey was a little boy who lived on my block. And I didn't think about Jeffrey or wonder about Jeffrey or Google Jeffrey or look Jeffrey up anywhere or thinking about Jeffrey until yesterday when I saw this video with what looked to me to be his face and his name. And as I ran the video, which is about some guy, it's about the L Train and some other musician who I also don't know anything about, Oldham or Oldham or somebody. I may have heard that name. I do listen to WFUV and WSUV, which are two different stations on the FM dial in the New York area. They're both college, university stations. So that name it vaguely rings a bell. I'm not sure. I'm not good at remembering names or faces either. So anyway, there we go. There's Jeffrey. And just to make sure that I was dealing with the right Jeffrey, I went to Wikipedia, and yeah, he's Jeffrey was born in 1975. That sounds about right. And grew up in the East Village. Yep, that's Jeffrey. A brother named Jack. That seals the deal. So I know that I'm talking about Jeffrey, the little boy who I knew when he was a little boy, and his baby brother Jack. Jeffrey is an accomplished musician. He's traveled the world. He does performances. He's got record albums. He's performed with other artists. I'm not saying he's up there with who. I can't even name any of the current ones at the top of my head. He's not, like the king of soul or somebody, but he's successful in his field. He's also a comic book artist of some repute and with some following. So I say to Jeffrey, good on you, man. I'm glad everything's good for you. And I hope you get this message. And by the way, P.S. Jeffrey, if you ever wanted to do a comic book about a New York City nighttime taxi driver, drop a comment on this blog, and we can get together about it, or email me at ecsredeye@yahoo.com or ecsredeye@gmail.com. And I would certainly get back to you, Jeffrey. The other small worldedness is a few days ago, and I'm really sad about this. A guy came up to the window of his taxi, and I had a passenger, and we were going across town. And the guy approached the car, and I lowered the window because I was going to hand him some money. And he asked me for a quarter, and I looked at him. And I don't want to say who he so strongly resembles because I don't want to violate that person's privacy, and there's a slight chance that it's not him anyway. But sure looked like this guy I once knew long ago, and a guy who did a lot of stuff, a lot of good things that I don't want to go into here because I'd give him away, and I don't feel like doing that. but a guy of some accomplishment and a guy of some valor and courage. And there he was, somebody look a hell of a lot like him, asking for money on the sidewalk. And it so threw me, and it so blew me away. And I didn't want to think it was him. But I had to know. And I contacted somebody who's in a better position than I am to know this fellow's status and his life circumstances, which I knew had to be tough, but I didn't necessarily know how tough. And they're very tough, his circumstances. This person hasn't seen him in a bit of a while, but what this person told me was information that would make it very credible that this guy, this great person, approached my taxi and asked me for money, and I'm really sad about that. Anyway, I guess I'm signing off on this little discussion, and that's it. So, good for you, Jeffrey and Jack.